evening. It is 6:30 in the evening. It is 29 degrees centigrade and it's very warm, but good to be out. And we're at Barnack, as you know now. Why are we here? Chalk fragrant orchids. I realised earlier in the year that chalk fragrant orchids only grow at this site, and I really don't do them justice. I usually see them when they're first coming out, usually on the way to see something else. But you know, they're locally very rare. This is the only site that they grow at, and yet I've never really covered them in a video, so that's what tonight's about. It is chalk fragrant orchids at Barnack Hills and Holes. They should be about at their best now. That's the gamble, but I think I've got it right, so I'm going to devote this one to the chalk fragrant orchids. Barnack Hills and Holes chalk fragrant orchid. Not a particularly big one, but it's fully open, which is what I was hoping for. That's a good collection of chalk fragrance. Still opening at the top, but sort of browning off at the bottom on some of them. That's okay. Can't really claim that as white, but it's certainly a much lighter colour than all the rest of them. Very, very pale sort of lilac, I think. Seems about 75% of the decent sized chalk fragrant orchids are in this one hollow, which makes for a lovely setting. Good numbers. Can't find any whites. I've had a good wander around really. The downside of chalk fragrances are all the same basically, unless you're lucky enough to find a white one or a hybrid, and we're not going to do that here because there's not enough common spotteds to make it happen, but it looks good. It's good, good little patch. It's a slightly pale form, or paler form at the front there, compared with a more typical pinkish colour at the back. Right, not as many as I thought there would be, but that one hollow was superb. There was something going on there that they liked, so it's good to see that. At least I've captured some fully grown Barnack Hills and Holes chalk fragrant orchids, so I've done them justice, I think. I'm going to move on to a second site now where we're going to be bouncing back there to have a look to see where it's at, and that's Castor Hanglands. So I will see you there in a few seconds. Welcome to Castor. Castor Hanglands, take two. I realised looking at some photographs about a week ago of Castor Hanglands at its best. They were all dated middle of June, later in June, second and third week in June, and not the sort of first week in June, which I kind of tend to compare it unfairly with. So, you know, rather than the orchids being 1/10 out or 1/4 out like they were when we came here a few weeks back, today they should be close to fully out. So it's a case today of seeing what we saw 3 weeks ago, but looking bigger and better. Might find something we didn't see. 2 or 3 weeks ago. We won't be wasting time on the early marsh orchid field. We'll just have a look to see if things look different this much later in June, and I think they will. Grass has grown a bit longer since 3 weeks back. There you go, I found something new. Didn't see this 3 weeks ago. I don't think it would have been out then. White common spotted orchid. First one I've seen at Castor for a few years. Nice. That's more like it. That's more like the Castor of old. Lovely common spotted orchids. Just trying to find that lovely pink Kernerorum, textbook Kernerorum we saw 3 weeks back. I can't find it at the moment. This isn't it. It's just a nice common spotted. Don't know if you can see these on the camera as well, as you can see from here, but there's lots and lots and lots of common spotteds. Quite small though, and the trouble is the grasses are growing very fast, twice as tall as they were last time we were here. There are more orchids here for sure. They're just being buried. Thought this one was a white from a distance, but as soon as you get near it, you see the markings. Big one. That is nice. And what you call that, a pink flush. At the top it disappears as it goes down, so you've got to catch these shortly after they open. That's nice, unusual. Probably call that one a Kernerorum. Not 100%, but I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. Common spotted early marsh. Nice. Boldly coloured. Good numbers in this patch. That's another Kernerorum hybrid. Classic early marsh style loopings. Nice pair of common spotteds. Don't often see a white Kernerorum hybrid, but it's hard not to call that one a Kernerorum. Those early marsh markings are pretty clear, very clear. A whitish dactylorizer cross Kernerorum. That's nice. That's probably the best of the bog standard common spotteds, if I dare call it that. Wonderfully bold, blackish purple markings. No messing around there. It's another nice one with a nice sort of pink blush at the top. I like these. I'm having to hold back the grasses on this beautiful group of otherwise buried common spotted orchids. Very cute. That's nice. Just heading for the exit now, and I think that's a sort of farewell Kernerorum hybrid. Yeah, happy with that, I think. Well, certainly that one is very Kernerorum. I'm not so sure about some of the other flowers. Possible if not probable Kernerorum hybrid. Right, that's it for Castor this year. I had to escape the horse flies were becoming next level on this warm sort of humid evening, so I don't like horse flies, I really don't, so it was time to escape. But yeah, it was good. There were definitely more common spotted than there were 3 weeks ago. More open than they were 3 weeks ago, obviously. They weren't that much bigger, to be honest with you. And the main thing is the grass has grown quite a lot bigger since, quite a lot taller since 3 weeks ago. So makes it harder to find them. But yeah, good fun. Plenty of common spotted there. Plenty of potential for that place to get even bigger and better. And I quite enjoyed that one. So that's Castor done. I've actually only got one site visit left, and then the summer season is over. I mean, I have one trip next week, which is the traditional summer season ending trip to Barton Hills, which I look forward to. And I hope to find some Rhodocilla common spotted there, as always, and whatever else turns up. And that's it, really. I'm not saying, I mean, who knows, something might crop up between now and the end of next week, but after that I'm away for a week's holiday over on the Norfolk coast. And I am sneaking the camera over there, so if I get a chance to sneak out and there's somewhere worth going over there, I might just pull out the occasional shock horror Norfolk site, but don't tell the wife. But yeah, thank you very much for once again joining me at Barnack and Castor, and I hope to see you next week at Barton Hills.